It's now time for your favorite in-depth basketball show with the myths, the legends, Nardog, and Raindrops Goulet!
We are well into the first round of the NBA playoffs, and it looks like the Toronto Raptors may actually make it past the first round this season. Welcome to another episode of Full Court Press. I'm Justin Raindrops Goulet, joined, of course, by the Nard Dog, David Bernardi. How goes it, my friend?
It's going absolutely flawless. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm glad to hear things are flawless. That's great. It's always what I'd like to hear. It's a gorgeous day right now. I'm actually sitting outside for this episode of Full Court Press out on my back patio. It's beautiful. The sun is shining. It's quite wonderful.
Just having a time, are you?
Yeah, I'm just having a great time. So, plenty to talk about covering the NBA postseason 2016. We're also going to touch on the legendary Mr. Kobe Bryant. Of course, no longer an active NBA player. It's kind of weird to think about that.
Strange.
Yeah, it is. It's a little strange. We'll focus on that later on in the episode, but let's get right into the playoff talk. Do you want to start off with the Eastern Conference or the Western Conference first?
I think we just start off with the Toronto Raptors.
I like it. I like it a lot. The Raptors currently, right now, as of this episode of Full Court Press, up 3-2 against the Indiana Pacers. And they've had some rough games. Game 4 was terrible.
Oh, Game 4, they didn't bring it out. They didn't bring it out at all. I know the Pacers were playing for their lives, but you got to show a better effort than that.
I agree. It's almost like the Raptors were playing as they were playing last season in the playoffs against the Washington Wizards. It was just awful basketball. Everybody was off.
Now, the Raptors have lost 7 of the last 8 quarters. I don't know.
Yeah, do you think the Raptors are going to make it past the first round? They're up 3-2 right now, and in Game 5, they pulled off a big comeback, but they almost went to overtime. They were that close to going to overtime. Solomon Hill, he hit that 3, but he did not release the ball in time. It was a split second too late. So the Raptors kind of caught a lucky break at the end of that one.
It's fun when you see the Raptors play like they did during the season, but then there's this side of them that just collapses. They just play this ISO ball. DeMar playing one-on-one. Lowry, it's not good. They need to play team ball.
Exactly, because they're turning the ball over. They're missing open men. You need to play as a team. They need to play as they were playing, like you said, during the regular season. That was some of the best basketball we've seen in recent years in the Toronto Raptors, and they need to bring that to the playoffs.
It went as far as to me thinking, should the Raptors start Norman Powell instead of DeRozan?
Norman Powell is clearly bringing the hustle. DeMar DeRozan played well in Game 5. What did he have? 34 points. That was a career playoff high. So that was his best game so far in this series.
Yeah.
But still, you saw in the first 4 games, he was just slacking. He was not playing like the DeMar DeRozan that we know and love, the DeMar DeRozan that we saw during the regular season.
We see earlier in the series, JV, Valanciunas, he's destroying the Pacers, and then out of nowhere, the Raptors just stop giving him the ball. It's just some whack play out there from the Raptors.
Yeah, it's kind of a mess, and I'd like to say that they're going to make it past the first round, and I think they can do it, but I won't be shocked if this series does go to 7 games.
I'm thinking it goes to 7 right now.
Do you think the Pacers are moving on to the second round, or the Raptors?
I think this might actually be the Raptors might actually play a second round.
You think this might finally be the year they might go back to the second round? I'd like to hope so. I think the Pacers...
Here's the thing. Raptors, if it goes to Game 7, it'll most likely be on Sunday during the day. Do you know if the Raptors' record is in day games in the playoffs?
No, I do not. Fill me in, Nard Dog.
0-13.
0-13. Ooh. Yeah. Oh, that's a little rough. But they do go to Game 7. It goes back to Toronto, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to have that home crowd support, and sure, they could lose, but you'd like to think that being on home court could help and give them an advantage. And
Speak, uh,
I would like to see them go on to the second round. I'm not going to guarantee that they're going to the second round, but I do think that they do have a high chance of making it to the second round. Now, past the
speaking of
second round, going to the conference finals, that's another story.
speaking of home court, did you see the free shirts the Raptors were giving out for Game 5 yesterday?
Oh gosh, oh no, I
Why?
did see them. I don't
Just terrible marketing. I don't know.
I don't understand what those T-shirts are all about.
Was it a beaver?
I think so. Some sort of morphed beaver. It kind of looked like
Yeah.
a potato.
And there's another one, the white one. I think it looked like a comet. I don't know.
I have no idea what those shirts are all about, but they did not. When I saw those T-shirts, when you sent me the picture of those shirts, I did not think Toronto Raptors basketball.
Yeah, that was very odd. I don't know what their marketing team is thinking.
Yeah, I don't know if they were tripping on something and
Even
thought it was a great idea.
this whole graffiti thing they're doing. I don't know.
Honestly,
Like that?
are you a fan of the I'm not the I like all right, I'm fine with it, but I'm not a huge I'm not the biggest fan of it. When the whole graffiti art came out, I was like, whatever, that's an interesting campaign, but like, they're trying to do something different, cool and all, but if I had to say yay or nay, I'd probably no, not probably, I'd go with nay. It's like,
Yeah.
nah,
It doesn't get you hyped.
not really. One thing that I like, I was looking for new wallpapers for my laptop here, and I found one, the Raptors colors, and it was the hashtag Northern Funk. I don't know if you've seen that floating around, but found that on Google Images, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And it's kind of a cool campaign, Northern Funk. I don't know where that's from, but I like it. Got the Raptors logo in it.
Now, if the Raptors do go on to the next round, they face either Miami or Charlotte.
That is true.
That's currently tied 2-2, and Charlotte's leading by 2 in the third quarter.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you think's happening in that series? Do you think we're going to see the Miami Heat in the second round?
I think if you're a Raptors fan, you want to play the Charlotte Hornets because they don't really have experience. You play Miami, and then you have to deal with Dwayne Wade, the Raptors killer who's named Joe Johnson. Plus, they got Whiteside, Luol Deng. It's gonna be tough. They have to play Miami.
Yeah, that team and all those players have experience.
Yeah.
You look
And
at
guys
Wade.
like-
Wade's a multiple-time NBA champion. So
Yeah, Kemba Walker, Al Jefferson, Marvin Williams. They don't really have playoff experience.
solid players, but yeah, they do lack the experience. It would be
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm hoping it's Charlotte, and it's possible. I think the Hornets can beat the Miami Heat. Do you think the Hornets can move on to the second round, or do you think the Heat, even if they lose this game, do you think they've got it in the bag?
I think if the Hornets win this Game 5, they could potentially go on to the second round and win Game 6 at home.
I'd like to see. I'd like to see Toronto versus Miami, but it would be nice to see Toronto versus Charlotte because it's two younger teams.
Yeah.
And as you said, Toronto has a better chance of beating Charlotte than they do Miami. But we do have to think back to when the Charlotte Hornets were the Charlotte Bobcats, and the Raptors royally sucked against the Charlotte Bobcats.
Yeah. And about the Heat, Chris Bosh was seen today shooting around. Now, they're still saying he's out for the playoffs, but you never know.
If the Heat move on to the second round, I'm calling it right now. I'm saying that Bosch will return to the playoffs, especially if they're playing the Toronto Raptors. But maybe that's just me because I like the dramatics of it all, seeing Bosch take on his former team.
One thing's for sure, if Miami does go to the next round, beats Charlotte, we're going to see a hell of a lot of those Michael Jordan memes, those crying ones.
Oh, that we will. That we will.
There's going to be a shot of all the Charlotte Hornets players with that head on it.
Yep. That wouldn't surprise me. Now bumping up a little bit in the Eastern Conference, Atlanta, Boston. I want to see Boston move on to the next round. What about you to take on the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Cavs who just swept Detroit?
Yeah, that's Boston. They're a really good coach team, but Isaiah Thomas went down injury in the last game.
Which is unfortunate because I'm a fan of Isaiah Thomas.
He's
Both.
questionable.
I'm a fan of Isaiah Thomas, both past and present.
Yeah.
That's
But yeah, it's gonna be tough if he's not 100% against this Hawks team.
Yep, because the Hawks are a powerful team, and they're up in the series. They're up 3-2. So.
And I don't. Brad Stevens is a great coach, but why was he playing Isaiah Thomas in the fourth quarter when Boston was getting blown out?
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's if the score is so uneven, and it's especially if it's the playoffs, do you keep your star player in or do you rest him for the next game?
No, I've had problems with KC this season and seasons past when the Raptors were up huge and he kept Lowry and DeRozan, Valanciunas in the game late.
Yeah, you rest them because you're looking towards the end of the season. You're looking towards the next game and eventually looking towards the postseason. So you rest your star players if you're dominating, and that's when you let your bench players get that experience, like guys like Norman Powell, someone like Lucas Nogueira,
Yeah,
even DeLon Wright.
He's been solid as well.
He has. Yep. The Raptors have a very good team this year. I'm happy with the Raptors this season, and I really hope they can make it past the first round against the Pacers and move on to the second round, and hopefully go all the way to the conference finals. With the way that they've played so far in this series, I do have some concerns and I do have some doubts because there's a lot of people that predicted that the Raptors had a straight shot to the conference finals and possibly the NBA finals. But with their performance so far in the first round, I'm a little weary about that.
And now on to the final East matchup where we saw the Cavs sweep the Pistons in 4 games, which were all close.
All very close.
Except for one, but
yeah. So it's a kudos and kudos to the Detroit Pistons for putting up a good fight.
Yeah.
But going up against the Cleveland Cavaliers, you're going up against LeBron James.
Yeah, LeBron's won 11 straight first round matchup games.
Yeah. Well, that's why he's the king.
Indeed.
Indeed. The king. Now, someone who kind of rivals LeBron James for king of the NBA is Mr. Stephen Curry. Unfortunately, he's had some bad luck in the playoffs. Do you want to switch things over to the Western Conference now?
Yeah, Steph Curry and the Warriors. They're currently up 3-1. And Jason Terry today, he's saying that he guarantees a Rockets win tonight in Oakland. I don't know.
That'd be something.
It's going to be pretty tough. They won't have Curry, but...
Do you think... Well, that's the thing. The Golden State Warriors, I personally think they have an extremely strong team. Of course, Steph Curry, their best player. But do you think the loss of Steph Curry is going to have that big of an impact that the Rockets win and possibly win the series? Like, the Warriors are up 3-1. The Warriors are moving... But so let's put it this way. Do you think the Houston Rockets are getting another win in this series?
I think potentially they can probably pull one out tonight in Oakland. But it is really hard to win Oakland now. They did win some odd, I don't know, was it 50-something games in a row?
Oh, it was madness. Incredible basketball. Well, they did set the record. They were 73-9. They did set the mark.
But yeah, if the Warriors will pull it up, they'll beat the Rockets either tonight or whatever night, and then they go on to play the winner of the Clippers and the Blazers.
What do you think about that one? Because there are some. You speak about injuries. Steph Curry getting hurt. There's some big blows to the LA Clippers. Both Blake Griffin and Chris Paul are out.
Yeah, they're both out for the playoffs.
Yeah,
And this is obviously good news for the Blazers.
this is
Lillard,
this is
McCollum.
wonderful news for Portland.
And
Personally,
yeah, I see Blazers winning the next 2 games and just yeah.
Personally, I'm hoping for a Portland Trailblazers win because I've always liked the Portland Trailblazers. I've always been a fan of theirs, and I've never been a Clippers fan. So this is an ideal situation for me. I want to see the Trailblazers go up against the Warriors. That would be a good matchup. The Golden State Warriors, I think, even say like without Curry, the Golden State Warriors, I think they've got a straight shot to the finals. Well, at least the conference finals. But I think it's safe to say that they're going to go to the NBA finals again this season.
Yeah, they're definitely going to the conference finals. That's basically guaranteed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think their biggest challenge would have been the Clippers because they always play well against the Warriors.
They do. They do.
And that just won't. Sorry, Clippers fans, but you're not being the Blazers.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. For LA Clippers fans. You know who's a big Los Angeles Clippers fans? Every time I think about the Clippers, you know who's a big LA Clippers?
Frankie Muniz?
Yes. Oh, yes. That's amazing. It's amazing that you know that too. Malcolm from Malcolm in the Middle is a huge LA Clippers fan. It's his favorite team. Agent Cody Banks, the man himself. That was fantastic. I am so happy that you knew that. Awesome.
Isn't Billy Crystal a fan? Someone else.
I'm not sure about Billy Crystal's sports teams preferences.
Yeah, but back to the Warriors. They'll be without Curry for 2 weeks, but luckily, they'll get a 7-day break. So technically, Curry might miss just 2 or 3 games in the next round.
So it's not too bad. It's not
Yeah.
it's not the end of the world for the Golden State Warriors.
Like, you'd think that the Warriors would probably take at least 1 or 2 games against, most likely, the Blazers.
Yeah, it's looking like it's going to be the Blazers now. If it's the Clippers, well done. But I'm hoping it's going to be Portland.
Speaking of rest, that's what the Spurs did against the Grizzlies in the first round.
Oh, the Spurs. Yeah. Spurs sweeping Memphis. And it's funny because San Antonio, in recent years, in the last 6-7 years, San Antonio and Memphis, they've had some interesting playoff matchups. Remember was it just a few years ago? Was it Memphis? Didn't they Memphis upset the Spurs?
Yeah, they did. But without Marc Gasol, Brandon Wright, and they lost a few other Mike Conley. How could you forget that guy? It was never going to be a series.
Nope. Yeah, the Spurs had it in the bag, and it kind of worked out. LaMarcus Aldridge's comments about Tim Duncan. He's like, it's a good thing we've got some rest. Tim Duncan's 100 years old.
Yeah, this is in one of the games this year. It was the first time that Tim Duncan was held without a field goal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was really emotional seeing the Grizzlies coach though.
Oh.
He was
yeah.
He was proud of his team.
He was upset.
Now, they did lose 14 out of their last 15 games, but before that, they were just a team. They were in a lot of those games that they lost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep, that they were.
That's the worst part about sports, all those injuries.
They get to you. All those injuries take down your team. It does not help, that's for sure. Seen that time and time again.
Now the Spurs, they will face the Thunder.
OKC against San Antonio. Oh, yes. Seeds 3 versus seed 2. OKC defeating Dallas 4-1. I was hoping for a Mavericks win. I usually pull for them in the West. But it was not meant to be.
But it was not meant to be at all.
Nope, not at all.
Now, earlier in the series, Charlie Villanueva, former Raptor, he interrupted a dance between a pre-game dance between Westbrook and I think it was Payne,
Oh yeah,
bench players.
I remember seeing that.
And the Thunder did not take too kindly of that. They were calling Villanueva a scrub, a bench player. He never plays.
Oh, that's
and then
harsh.
Villanueva shot back saying that Westbrook should probably join the Dance with the Stars cast.
You know what? It's the playoffs. Things get heated. Shots fired. We've seen that in the Raptors-Pacers series. There's been almost like 2 or 3 fights. Paul George and DeMar Carroll going at it.
Yeah, and then after the series, Durant and Westbrook were just going off again in post-game. They're saying, what was it? Mark Cuban called Westbrook not a superstar, and then Durant interrupts Westbrook when he was about to say, he's like, Mark Cuban's an idiot. He's just an idiot.
Things get hot and heavy. Things heat up in the playoffs.
And then Charlie Villanueva gets brought up, and Westbrook's just saying, "Oh, Villanueva's he's gonna be on the bench for 82 games again next year." And Durant interrupts him, and he says, "If he even is on a team."
Wow. Oh, that's harsh.
Yeah.
Shots fired. Wow.
And thing is, Villanueva, he's such a good guy.
He is. That's what I've heard.
He's just having some fun. And Durant was just having none of it in Westbrook.
I know, it's like, come on. Don't be mean about it.
Yeah.
Especially after winning the series. Come on, have some class.
Have some better class.
My gosh. Who do you, well,
they have a lot more to worry about with the Spurs next. So.
Yeah, exactly. Facing another Texan team. Who do you think's got that one? I'm thinking San Antonio's go. I'm thinking it's San Antonio Golden State in the Western Conference Finals.
I think with all the rest that the Spurs got, as per usual,
Yeah.
I think they could probably take down the Spurs or the Thunder in 6 games.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Spurs have got this one. I'm thinking Golden State, San Antonio in the Western Conference Finals. And in the East, I'm hoping Toronto, Cleveland. But I'm not sure. If Toronto faces, it may be Miami, Cleveland in the final, which would be another interesting story to see that played out.
Yeah, I think most people are saying it's probably going to be Cleveland and Miami. But I don't know. I still think the Raptors can do it. They can pull it off.
I think they can. I think they could be the Cinderella story of the 2016 postseason. I hope so.
Now, do I think the Raptors are going to go to the NBA Finals? That would be a miracle. It's just Cleveland's way too good.
Yeah. You know, crazier things have happened in the NBA. So
do you think the Cavs would be playing in Game 6 against the Pacers right now? I don't think so.
I don't think so. No. But you never know what could happen in NBA playoff basketball, right?
You never know.
You never know. Now, with all the talk of the playoffs and championships, we can't end the episode off before talking about the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bean.
Kobe Bean Bryant, retired from the game of basketball, and I'm gonna say it right now. You know my feelings about Kobe Bryant, Nardog. You know how I feel about the Black Mamba. And I don't know him personally, but I was never a big fan of his personality, how brash and arrogant he was, but I will admit that Kobe Bryant is one of the greatest basketball players to ever play the game. You can't argue that.
I'm a big Kobe fan, and it was kind of emotional watching that final game, final introduction.
And you want to go out on a bang. He went out on a bang. 60 points. Come on, dude.
Yeah. And people are saying that the Jazz were just giving him those shots. No, they weren't. They were actually playing defense.
Yeah, it's impressive. 60 points is impressive for your final game, especially 37 years old too. But we don't really want to throw age into there because you look at someone like Tim Duncan still playing really well at his age.
The big fundamental.
Yeah, the big fundamental. It works. Whatever works, right?
Will a player ever end his career with 60 points? I don't think so.
I don't think so. And Kobe Bryant was certainly one to set bars pretty high and set records. Um,
But
in the NBA, second highest single game point total in NBA history with 81 against which team? Of course, the Toronto Raptors. But and you look at Kobe's final stats over his career. He averaged 25 points, 4.7 assists per game, and 5.2 rebounds per game. But 25 points, that's impressive. 19 points for All-Star games, 19 points per game. And in the playoffs, 25.6 points per game, his career in the playoffs. And one thing that I really appreciate about Kobe Bryant is that he stuck with the Los Angeles Lakers his entire career. 20 seasons with the same team. That's great to see. I really like to see players stick with one team for their entire career. Someone like Reggie Miller and now Kobe Bryant, someone like Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and Tony Parker. It's fantastic to see, and I really respect that loyalty to the team. And the team and
rare to see.
And the team's loyalty to that player, right? Because the teams aren't shipping these players off somewhere else. They're saying, you know what, you're a superstar. We're building this franchise around you. We're going to keep you.
Yeah, and that final game it's incredible. He was making vintage Kobe shots. Some of those threes,
They're huge. And just some of the numbers that he put up over his career back in 2005, 2006, that season, what do you average? About 35 points per game.
Yeah.
35 points per game. Wow.
Yeah, and like back to stuff you'll never forget. Like that Sacramento series.
The 5 championships.
That lob to Shaq in Game 7 against the Blazers.
Amazing. And the thing is, and like I've said, I'm not a huge Kobe Bryant fan, but now that he's retired, I said that once he retired, I would admit and say, you know what, he is one of the greatest players to ever step on the court, and I'd be lying to myself if I said he wasn't. Kobe Bryant is one of the best basketball players of all time, whether you love him or hate him, and he certainly had and has a lot of haters, but he certainly has and had a lot of people that were rooting for him and that absolutely loved him.
Well, at least LeBron has more haters than Kobe.
Well, LeBron brought that on himself, and you could say that about Kobe too. But LeBron with the switching teams and whatnot. But
you know what I can see happen? I can see in LeBron's final game of his career, he's gonna try to top Kobe. He's probably gonna get like a quadruple double.
You could see that Kobe versus LeBron was the matchup of this modern age, right?
It just sucks that they never faced off in the finals.
Yeah, that would have been great to see, especially in Kobe's heyday. For like 5-6 seasons ago.
Yeah.
But you look at some of the accolades racked up by Kobe. Of course, 5-time NBA champion. He never got that 6th ring, but 5 is impressive. 2-time Finals MVP, League MVP in 2008. He's an 18-time All-Star, and 4-time All-Star Game MVP. And just some of the numbers and some of these stats. Dunk contest champion back in '97. It's an amazing career.
He's got the full resume.
He does have the
today. He made his, pardon?
He does have the full resume. You're right. He's got it all on there.
And today he made his first public appearance since his final game on the Ellen DeGeneres show.
Oh yeah, how was that? You had mentioned that.
They did some segment. I guess it was live during the show.
Right on.
He went to some clinic to see some doctor about a sweating problem. So basically, he had Ellen DeGeneres in his ear, just feeding him off words to say. It was hilarious.
Wonderful.
Is something else.
Wonderful. Well, I know he's one of your favorite, if not favorite, players of all. Is he? Would you say he's your favorite player of all time? Or would that go to Michael Jordan?
Favorite player of all time. I'd say probably Kevin Garnett during his T-Wolves days.
Oh, right on.
Love
Good choice. Good choice. Yeah, I was a big fan of KD when he was on the T Wolves in his first run with the T Wolves. Then he had to go.
Jordan,
I was a big fan. I was a big fan of what's that?
Jordan was my favorite player. It was Tony Kukoc on the Bulls.
Oh, yeah, you have mentioned that. Yeah. Good old Tony K.
Croatian.
Well, there you go. Well, any you got any final thoughts? Any messages when it comes to Mr. Kobe Bryant?
Um, I don't think we'll ever see another like him. Like he brought it all every night. He was a black mamba. He was the killer. He was the bomb. He was the game winner. He was the NBA champion. He was scoring champion. Obviously, he was just everything.
He was everything. There you go, NBA champion, and like I've said, not Kobe's biggest fan. Brash, arrogant, and sometimes could be selfish, but one of the best players of all time, no doubt about that. One of the all-time greats, that's for sure.
You think of about the no passing. You think about that. I think it was a couple years where he was playing with Kwame Brown, Chris Mim, Smush Parker, whole bunch of other scrubs. Would you pass?
Well, of course, with that list of all-stars right there. Oh,
I
man.
believe the season where he averaged something like crazy, like 33, 34 points a game.
Mm-hmm. Well, his career high in assists per game was 6.3. And he's a shooting guard after all, so that's pretty good. Not too shabby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, we do have some awards to talk about.
Oh, yes we do. Yes we do, before we wrap things up.
And there's this, so Steve Kerr won Coach of the Year. And there's a lot of talk about how Luke Walton, he finished with a better record than Steve Kerr during the year. I don't know.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think they should have went with Terry Stotts of the Blazers.
Oh,
in my
yeah?
opinion.
Yeah?
No one in their dreams thought that the Blazers were going to make the playoffs. They lost 4 out of their 5 starters. CJ McCollum, who, by the way, won Most Improved Player,
Yep.
I don't know. I think Terry Stotts should have won it.
Fair enough. Fair enough to say with the circumstances that were surrounding the Portland Trailblazers, and to see them finish in 5th, and it looks like they are going to make it on to the second round. It's big. And yeah, as you said, they've got CJ McCollum, Most Improved Player, had a great season.
I guess for Coach of the Year, you have to reward the team with the best record.
They not always though, because you look when Sam Mitchell won Coach of the Year, the Raptors didn't have the best record. They won the Atlantic Division, but they didn't have the best record.
I think it mostly has to do with them setting the all-time record for wins.
Which makes sense. I see that reasoning. I think it could have been fair. I don't know if you'd agree with me, to have Steve Kerr and Luke Walton be co-winners of the Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
Because give Luke Walton his due, right?
Yeah. But I don't know. You can probably say if Steve Kerr wins Coach of the Year, that means his whole coaching staff wins.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Like during the press conference, he had all the assistant coaches with him.
There you go. He's acknowledging the help that he has. He's acknowledging the staff that surrounds him, right?
Yeah.
And that's always nice to see. Now, Defensive Player of the Year, one of my favorites in the league, and I don't know, probably my favorite player on the Spurs, Mr. Kawhi Leonard. Defensive Player of the Year. What are your thoughts on that, Nardug?
Yeah, I think it's well deserved. But there was a certain Hassan Whiteside who wasn't too happy about it.
Oh, no, he was not.
What was he? He was saying something about he was putting up defensive stats that no one's seen in probably a decade.
Yeah. Hassan Whiteside can put up some superhuman numbers. I'll give him that. But I'm happy for Kawhi Leonard. I've been a fan of Kawhi Leonard's even before he got drafted. So I was actually hoping that the Raptors could have taken Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah. And he could have been a Pacer.
He could have been a Pacer.
But the Pacers traded that pick for George Hill.
And we see how that's turned out.
Yes, they have. How about those Spurs? They're gonna lose Duncan, Ginobili, Parker soon. But then they got LaMarcus Aldridge and Kawhi Leonard, and I'm sure they're gonna get another third piece.
Yeah, they've got with those two players right there, Leonard and Aldridge. That's a good base. You see those three future Hall of Famers leaving, and you've got those two building blocks right there, solid building blocks.
Yeah, and then you got two potential Hall of Famers to start it up again.
There you go. To start the dynasty. It will keep the dynasty going, right?
Yeah.
Now, someone who's kind of building a little dynasty of his own, a personal dynasty, is the 6th man of the year, 3rd time in his career. Jamal Crawford, the LA Clippers. 35 years old, and he's still getting it done.
I was actually thinking when he won it, I was like, does he deserve to be in the Hall of Fame as like the 6th man king?
Honestly, you could say he's won the award 3 times. He's certainly one of the best 6 men of the year, but you could say, I don't know, what do you think he's the best 6 man of all time?
Oh, for sure. You don't win 6 man a year, and he's always in the runners up to win.
He is. He's always in contention. So I think, give it time, I think it would be fair to put Jamal Crawford in the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Now, let's see. I think you pretty much need just 20,000 points to get in to the Hall of Fame. That's what it seems like these days.
Yeah.
There's only one player in NBA history that has 20+ thousand points, Jake Sigma, who's not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But do you think Crawford probably needs a championship?
It's tough to say, because you have to make that distinction between individual success and team success.
Yeah.
So he's certainly had the individual success, but he hasn't necessarily had the team success with no championships. And Jamal Crawford's been in the league for about 15 years or so?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been around the block for a very long time. He's 35 years old, and he's still playing very well, as you see by winning the 6th Man of the Year award, and he's got a few years left in him. I don't know if he's going to win a championship.
No, would he get in the Hall of Fame right away? No, he's not a first ballot.
No, he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Maybe in like 20 years. I don't know.
Maybe a little bit less. Maybe in like 9 or 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think it's fair to say that Jamal Crawford one day will be in the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Now, I was thinking, who can you compare Jamal Crawford to as a 6th man? And like I'm thinking, Manu Ginobili. But here's the thing: Manu Ginobili has 4 championships. He's won a gold medal with Argentina.
Yeah, I think Ginobili's on another level than Crawford.
Very different level.
Nothing wrong with that.
Now on to most improved. We already talked about this.
But you know what's amazing? Before we get to that, one amazing thing about Ginobili, he's a 2nd round pick, 57th overall in 1999.
Yeah.
He's a 2-time NBA champ, or 4-time NBA champion, 2-time All-Star. He won the 6th Man of the Year award in 2008. 57th overall pick. It's amazing. That's a success story right there. And there we go. Now, most improved player.
CJ McCollum is just, he comes out of nowhere this year. He starts, and him and Lillard basically have the 3rd best backcourt. You can debate it with Lowry and DeRozan as a 2nd, maybe.
Yep, that's fair to say. And you look at McCollum's stats. What a jump! Rookie season, 5 points a game. Last season, 7 points a game. This season, 20.8 points per game.
Yeah.
Incredible. That's a huge leap. And so far in the playoffs, he's averaging 17 points per game, whereas last year he averaged 0.7 points per game.
Yeah, he's a special player, and he's well deserved.
Yeah, I think it's well deserved, just the improvement that he's made.
And him and Lillard can be an awesome backcourt for God knows how long.
Yeah, they're going to be a dominant duo. That's for sure.
Indeed.
As the Trailblazers move on to the second round, because yeah, keeping the fingers crossed on that one.
JJ Redick and DeAndre Jordan are going to have one hell of a series.
Oh, yes.
I get them back.
Yep.
And maybe Paul Pierce will awaken from the dead.
Who knows?
He's not actually dead, but
yeah, but they won't be they won't they won't be facing the Raptors though. It seems like Paul Pierce needs to be facing Toronto to step up.
yeah.
Madness, I tell you. Well, Nardog, anything else? Any final thoughts? Anything else you want to throw out there?
Best of luck to the Raptors. They go on, and it would be their first franchise series win in 7 games.
Well, there you go. Keeping our fingers crossed and sending positive vibes to the Toronto Raptors. Hopefully they can make it on to the second round, and who knows, make it on to the Eastern Conference Finals.
If it does go to Game 7, which would most likely be on Sunday during the early afternoon, the Nardog might make an appearance at Jurassic Park.
Well, if you do, post a nice selfie on the Full Court Press Facebook page. Do it.
But for sure, if they go to the second round, I will probably make an appearance.
Right on. I will be there in spirit. I will be at the game living vicariously through you. Where can people chat with you about basketball, life, and everything in between?
You can catch me on the flip side on the Twitter at David Bernardi7, the number 7.
Right on.
Lucky 7.
Lucky number 7. And you can find me on the Twitter at Justin Goulet 21. Oh yes, the number 21.
Timmy D.
Timmy D. And old school KG.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Well, Nardog, thanks as always for joining me. Always a pleasure chatting basketball with you.
Oh, it's always a delight.
Always a time.
And always a blast.
And always an adventure. And thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Full Court Press. I'm Justin Raindrops Goulet.
And I'm the Nardog, David Bernardi.
We will catch you later in the next episode for some more basketball talk and see how things are going in the world of the NBA playoffs. We'll catch you later.
Cheers.
You've just been hit with Full Court Press. Courtesy of the men, the myths, the legends, Nardog, and Raindrops Goulet.